What's going on YouTube? Cloverbells here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be talking about not one but actually two Pokemon, and you can see them on your screen already if you're looking at my GIFs. We're going to talk about Mimikyu first, and then we'll also look at Salazzle. So the reason why I'm looking at both of them at the same time in this video is because both of them have rose pretty much at the same time, and sometimes they're also on the same team, oddly enough. So I figured, why not knock two birds with one stone and talk about both of them in one video. So the way we're going to look at this is why is Mimikyu rising and what good is it, and then we'll take a look at the Salazzle stuff and see why this is also rising. But first, in terms of Mimikyu, again, we know what this has done in like Sword and Shield stuff, where you have the Ghost Fairy typing, which is actually pretty nice, and then you have like the Trick Room stuff. So we might as well just put that there in the last slot. And then from here you have like a couple options as far as like your set wants to go. Typically you can even do like Shadow Claw, Shadow Sneak, all right, and then this is usually some other move like Will-O-Wisp, and then you can go for the Trick Room, right? This was like traditionally in like Sword and Shield. Then you had like the Mental Herb stuff, right? But then even then, you know, you could have even like replaced the Shadow Claw with something like Helping Hand. This was again like the Sword and Shield stuff, right? But from there, nowadays, the set's looking a little bit different, okay? And you'll see what I mean when I show you the tournament stuff and see what the Mimikyu stuff is looking like over there. But the Salazzle, we'll talk more about the Salazzle separately. But again, very fast fire type user, which is always really good. Very high special attack, and it gets some nice tools this gen that maybe didn't quite get in previous gens. And it also has like a lot of other cool support moves, which is the more impressive thing with Salazzle. Not just the stab moves, you know, the poison stab and the fire stab, but actually the support moves is what makes it actually really cool. And it's what separates it from like some of the other fire type users, which is probably why it's rising in usage, right? So we'll take a look at the Mimikyu first and see, you know, where it is on some of the tournament teams and why it's so good. And then we'll take a look at the Salazzle, right? So let's just go ahead and start off. Okay, so to see why Mimikyu is rising all of a sudden, we have to go all the way back to Joyo X9's pop-up tournament number 2, which I believe was just before Christmas. Yep, the 21st of December back in 2022, right? We're in 2023 now. And take a look at what you see here. So I do see a couple of Mimikyus here. You see one in 11th place from Kyle and another one from 5th place with Kareem. And I believe this is pretty much the same team. So we'll take a look at the one over here with Kareem, and notice here, and again, by the way, look, there's Salazzle Mimikyu, but right away I can see that this is a Life Orb Mimikyu with Shadow Claw, Shadow Sneak, Play Rough, and Protect. No Trick Room Mimikyu, okay, and there's actually no Trick Room on this team whatsoever, but again, just note, can keep in your mind that there is no Trick Room on the Mimikyu, but it is a Life Orb offensive set, all right? And if you take a look at costumes, it's pretty much the same thing. Yeah, more or less, you know, Life Orb Mimikyu, 3 attacks and Protect, and no Trick Room, and you know, and again, it's just a Salazzle as well over there, which we'll talk about later in the video. But then, if we go into the Nino Tour, which is pretty much a day separate, back to Kyle and then Monkey VGC. We've reviewed this team a couple times already because it has the back Scalper, the Water Tauros, and now we're also taking a look at the Mimikyu stuff. But if we look here, once again, no Protect, no Trick Room on the Mimikyu, and it's just 3 stabbing. So very little change there. And then Monkey VGC was pretty much just running the same kind of squad, if I just click here. But again, notice that it is the offensive set. But there's a couple other Mimikyu teams like right here from Hayden. And if you look at this type of squad, no Salazzle here, but again, Life Orb Mimikyu with 3 attack moves and Protect. No Trick Room whatsoever. And then if I keep scrolling down this tour, I'll find another Mimikyu, I believe. Yep, right here from Nora B. Okay, and if I click this one, another back Scalper Mimikyu stuff. Once again, Life Orb Mimikyu, Shadow Claw, Play Rough, and Shadow Sneak. So, common theme so far, aggressive Mimikyu with Life Orb, which you didn't see in Sword and Shield, and it's got 3 attack moves with no Trick Room. Okay, so that's the main thing. Is there another one over here? No, I don't. So then if we fast forward a little bit to today's more recent tours, all right, let's look at the Durant's VGC Meta Weekly Tour. And again, this is another big tournament just before the new year. This is about 150 plus tournament, 150 plus person tournament. And there's a couple of Mimikyus here. So take a look at the one from 0, 15 VGCs. Mimikyu again paired with back Scalper. No Salazzle, instead opting for the Volcarona. But again, Life Orb, 3 attack moves, but this time there is Trick Room and there's a Curse set. So Curse is actually very interesting, you know, of course. It works differently if you're a Ghost type, right? Because in past, where if you went for Curse, you would get the attack and the defense boost, but with Curse as a Ghost move, it just turns into a damage over time, right? So that's also very interesting. But then, if you keep going down here, again, from Huanfei, so back to the Salazzle stuff, along with back Scalper, Shadow Claw, Shadow Sneak, Play Rough, and now there's Trick Room, there's no Protector, but still, again, holding on to the Life Orb set. Alright, so, again, very common theme here. This is actually a very, very standard back Scalper, Mimikyu, Salazzle stuff. Like, if people wanted to try and use, like, back Scalper, I would just give them this, right? This is actually relatively standard. So it's a pretty cool team. And I like that there is Trick Room on this Mimikyu. You know, there's a lot of priority here with Shadow Sneak, Ice Shard, Sucker Punch, you know, so, and then even here with Aqua Jet, 4 priority moves, and then you just add Trick Room on top of that just to help you out with, like, you know, just with the Amogus stuff where you're able to go for spores. It's actually really nice. So actually this is a pretty cool team, and you know, I'm not surprised that it did so well. So yeah, if I keep scrolling down there, am I gonna find another Mimikyu? I think that was it, right? Just a couple of them in the top cut. So that was pretty cool. And then if we look at the other big tournament that was happening right around the same time, the Espeon Cup. Again, this is the other big tournament, 177 person tournament, so also pretty big. There is another one with the Mimikyu here in the top cut, you know, top 10 right here. Again, with back Scalper, no Salazzle here this time, but you can see that again, it is once again a Life Orb set, but no Trick Room, but still going for the Protect set. So common theme here. If I just look at one more smaller tour, just for like tournament's sake, there's another one here from Winter Night, and this one again, Life Orb with 3 attacks and Trick Room. All right, so pretty standard stuff. Not too much else to really say about Mimikyu, except that you know you are running Shadow Claw, Shadow Sneak, okay, Play Rough, and depending on your choice, either Trick Room or Protect, and the item was Life Orb. So now the question is why the Life Orb, and why not something like Mental Herb, you know, to prevent yourself from getting taunted? Well, let's just say you had Protect, okay? Why do you need Mental Herb when you don't even have any Trick Room? So what's the point, right? So there's no need for the Mental Herb, so get rid of that, and you figure like, okay, I'm trying to deal damage here, so let me try and deal more damage and help out this poor base attack of 90, and then just give myself a Life Orb, and now I can actually do pretty much somewhat respectable damage. All right, and there's got to be Pokemon in the meta that don't want to be taking, you know, Life Orb ghost moves like Shadow Sneak or Shadow Claw, as well as a Play Rough, and there is. And for that, we have to take a look at Pikalytics and see what kind of bonds that this Pokemon is hitting. So let's take a look. All right, so we're back on Pikalytics here. So let's take a look at it. So option number 1 is the Goldango, and this makes a lot of sense, right? If you have a Stab Shadow Claw or Stab, you know, Shadow Sneak, you have a role to pick up with the Life Orb, especially if you are something like 252, 252 Adamant Nature, right? Which I would expect you to be. In this case, I'll just put it over here. So you're doing about 156 with a Life Orb is actually pretty good, and this is like sometimes the second EV benchmark on a lot of bulky, hard-hitting Pokemon. So this is hitting where we want to be at anyway, right? So that's actually pretty cool. And again, I can show you the calcs in the comments, I guess, you know, just to have a little bit of a shorter video. But again, you do have the role to pick up the Goldango with like Adamant Shadow Claw, and even like Shadow Sneak is going to do a lot of damage. But then look how much Play Rough is hitting. You're going to kill the Murkrow, you're going to kill the Garchomp, you're going to kill the Hydreigon, right? Especially the Hydreigon, because this thing is 4 times weak to Fairy. So you have good coverage against a lot of these Metamon. The first 4 right away, you have good coverage. All right, and then what's probably even more important is these 2 homies. Actually, these 3 homies, technically, right? The Annihilate, right? Especially the bulky Annihilates, you can pressure it with Life Orb, Play Rough, right? And even with your Ghost moves, right? You also have priority there as well. The Armarouge, same idea. If there's no Indeedee, you also can pressure with Shadow Claw. That's also probably why you run Shadow Claw. The thing is, the Indeedee, you just have to watch out with the Follow Me stuff. Meowscarada, again, you can pressure it with the Fairy move with the Play Rough, so that's always pretty good. And again, same thing with Grimmsnarl. You can click Play Rough and deal super effective damage because it is a Dark type. So within the top 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 within the top 10, right? You're pressuring it. Is this actually 10? Hold on, let me take 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, all right, so 9. Okay, so that's pretty good. Yeah, so like this is actually really good. So you have some merit if you can pressure the top 8 Pokemon of the top 10 in the meta. So that's actually a good merit, right? That's what you want on your team, to pressure like the top 10 in one Pokemon. And to top it all off, of course, you have like this disguise ability where you're like able to take one type of attack. But if it were me, I would just honestly just go for Trick 'em here. You know, just if I have an Amoonguss on my team, right? And if I have something slow like the back Scalper, right? So why not just go for the Trick 'em stuff, right? And you know, just help me get a speed advantage, right? In terms of speed control. So that's what I think. But that's up to you as a player. If you like Protect over here, fine. But I think I'm gonna go for Trick 'em if I were to try and use a Life Orb Mimikyu with like these 4 Pokemon on something like this. Okay. So that's the reason behind Mimikyu. So you know, if you can do that, and you know, there's like very limited fairy options, right? So let me just remove this Salazzle for a second. Who are your fairy options? You have Grimmsnarl, all right. You have Sylveon, and what's another good fairy? The Azumarill, right? And then that's pretty much it, right? Because you don't really have too many like fairy. Okay, Gardevoir gets an honorable mention. But other than that, that's pretty much it in terms of like your fairy options as of this moment. Yeah, let me just like type in fairy just to like make sure I'm not making a fool of myself. This is banned. Again, we just mentioned Gardevoir, Hatterene, not quite. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, see, these are like pre-evolution. So like, it's good to see people like trying to start and use Mimikyu, right? So yeah, if you want to consider using it, definitely use it. I think it has a lot of merit. But now what we're going to do is shift the focus onto Salazzle. All right, so let's take a look. Okay, so before we continue on and looking at tournament results, I want to like bring into light what Salazzle can do as opposed to something like, you know, your other top popular fire types like a Rotom Heat or like a Volcarona. Who's another one? Skeledirge. Okay, give me some more. Like, let me type in fire. All right, I'm listing like all these top fire meta Pokemon. Even Armarouge, right? Okay, yeah, we'll put him in there, and then for the sake of it, Arcanine as the last filler spot, right? Whatever. The idea is like we have like some of the more used fire type options, and Salazzle has something that they cannot do, and that's put pressure on the fairy types, right? And the reasoning for that is because you have a poison move. So think about stuff like Grimmsnarl, like what Rotom can like of course go for overheat on the Grimmsnarl stuff, but again, you know, you just can't do super effective damage to it, and then it just clicks Spirit Break on all of these things, right? Rotom, Volcarona, Skeledirge, Armarouge, they're all like special attackers that get walled by Light Screen, and once they take a Spirit Break, now they're all like -1, and they just don't do any damage, right? So but Salazzle can just come in and say, well, first of all, this should be Oblivious. The one thing that Salazzle can pressure with against like Grimmsnarls and Sylveons and even like Azumarills for that matter, is to go for a poison move, and now you're just dealing super effective damage against them. And that's the one niche that it has like over these other fire types, but it has other tools that also make it very useful, which I will show you in a second. But let me just remove this. Okay. And there's 2 types of sets that I want you to consider. All right, one of them is going to be like a Focus Sash set. Oops, right here. And the other one is going to be the Eject Pack set, okay? And I'll tell you why. And I'll actually start with this one, even though like I think the Focus Sash one is just like a little bit more consistent. But this one is actually a pretty cool set. So the idea with the Eject Pack is this. Let's say you have your stat move Overheat. And the whole concept of the Eject Pack is if your stats are lowered, you're gonna switch out for free into like an ally, all right? So you click Overheat, your stats get lowered, you get the Eject Pack, and you pivot out, and then you bring in something else in, right? So that's actually pretty cool. So if you have like Overheat and then like some other move and then Fake Out, which I would assume you're gonna be running, you know, let's say you click Fake Out turn 1, you stick around, then you click Overheat next turn, then you recycle yourself by going into the Eject Pack because you clicked Overheat, and then at some point you bring back the Salazzle and you get to recycle your Fake Out. It's brilliant, okay? So that's one set that you could be considering when you use Salazzle. The other one is just a little bit more standard with the Focus Sash set. But typically something like this is again a fire move like Overheat. You can run Heat Wave, right? And you can run like Flamethrower. I would run like both at the same time just to like, you know, either deal like good spread damage or this one just in case you don't want to miss, okay? but I do think Overheat is just a little bit better of a move. So I'm gonna put that here. And what other people are using is Sludge Bomb. But I'm going to say there's actually a little bit more of a better move than this, and you'll see what it is in a second. We're going to call it the Clover Tech on the Salazzle, but I'll put Sludge Bomb there for now. And then typically this is always Fake Out, and then some support move. Now this support move will vary depending on you, the player. All right, I've seen stuff like Endeavor, which is really good with Focus Sash because, you know, when you get down to 1 HP, and then if you just go for something like this, of course. All right, and then once you get down to 1 HP, then you just go for Endeavor and you just chip things down, right? Similar to like what Lycanroc is doing with its own Focus Sash, right? So there's that option. You also get access to Encore. So if things want to go for Trick Room, or if they want to go for like stuff like Tailwind, or if Grimmsnarl sets up a screen, you can just click Encore, and now they just have to keep clicking that for the next few turns, and probably it'll fail depending on the move, right? So that's a good support move. You also get access to something like Taunt. All right, which is actually pretty good because you're a non-dark type, so you're able to, you know, successfully taunt the others. So you can use this on a Grimmsnarl, you can use this on like a Murkrow or a Talonflame for that matter, you know, just other support Pokemon that you don't want to click setup moves or supporting moves. You can taunt them. You also get access to Helping Hand, okay, which is actually really good. So if you want to get a little bit more damage from your secondary slot, you can do that. I think it's very helpful. You also get access to Will-O-Wisp, just like Volcarona and Rotom, Heat, and pretty much I think every other fire type. You know, you can just use this to neuter other physical attackers, just like a Dondozo, for example. You can burn it. Okay, I think you get some other stuff. Kind of weird that this thing gets Dragon Dance, by the way. You do get access to Fake Tears, but again, there's a better move than Fake Tears, and again, I'm getting to it, but I just want to look at other like supporting moves here. You do get, well, Naxi Plat is kind of sus. What else do we have? We get Thunder Wave, bro. Speed Control, Salazzle, and you know, you're fast enough to take advantage with it. So like Thunder Wave is another option. I think that's a cool tech. What else is over here? That's actually kind of cool. Oh, you already saw the move. Oh man, I spoiled it. All right, Scary Face, another Speed Control move. Dude, this thing gets Scary Face. Yo, this thing gets everything. All right, no wonder it's been rising. But if you didn't see it, I'll show it to you now. Acid Spray. Okay, this is actually one of my favorite moves in the game. And if you remember, back when I had the Players Cup team with Nihilego and Celesteela back in Sword and Shield, I used Nihilego Acid Spray, and then I Dynamaxed my Celesteela. And because my Nihilego was faster, I was able to use Acid Spray, break potential sashes on Pokemon like Whimsicott or maybe even like Grimmsnarl stuff. And then I just used Max Steel Spike, Max Airstream, everything with the Celesteela, killed it, got the Dynamax boost, and you know, I kind of like steamrolled and stuff, right? Well, now we can get that here with Salazzle, and it is to my understanding that Salazzle in previous generations did not get Acid Spray. So this is actually a pretty cool upgrade. So, you know, you can settle for Sludge Bomb, but then you can just use Acid Spray. And now, if you're paired with something like Rotom Wash or Rotom Heat, or maybe like a Hydreigon next to your team, you know, you can just make them do extra damage because, you know, they're special attackers and you're just dropping special defense. And then you can technically keep spamming Acid Spray. Like once you use it once, the next time you use it on the same Pokemon, it's going to do more damage because you already dropped their special defense by 2. All right, so I think this is actually really cool. And then here could be whatever support move you want. You could be like Encore, for example, or because we're using a Focus Sash, I think I'll go with Endeavor. Okay, but again, I showed you the support set. It's up to you, however you want to play it. But yeah, this is one thing you can consider. So now what we're going to do is take a look at some of those tournament teams and see how many are following this format where you have a fire move, a poison stab, a fake out, and some support moves. So let's take a look. All right, so let's go back here to the X9 League and let's look at this Salazzle from Kareem and Kyle. And I believe, yep, it is exactly. So they're running Sludge Bomb as opposed to Acid Spray. So they want a little bit more immediate damage. But again, same formula, Overheat, Poison move, Fake Out, and then support move like with Endeavor, right? And I believe Kyle had the same team, so we're not going to really look there. Let's look at the Nino Pokebroster. So this is Kyle and Monkey VGC's updated team, which is, I believe, is a little different than what they were using in the X9 League as far as like Kyle was using. But again, you know, same idea. Fake Out, Overheat, Sludge Bomb, you know, Fake Out plus 2 stabs, and then Taunt, as opposed to like something like Endeavor or Encore. But again, up to the player. If we scroll down here to Hayden, what were they running? With the actually, wait, no, there was no Salazzle here. I was thinking about the Mimikyu. Was there another Salazzle here? Let me just keep scrolling down and just keep taking a look here. I thought there was one more. Nope. All right, so none from this tour. Let's go to the Durant's tour. All right, let's look at this one over here. Wait, I just saw it. Was there one here? I believe there. Oh yeah, right here from Juanfi. So yeah, okay. So fake out, overheat, sludge bomb, encore. Okay, again, same kind of format. So nobody's using acid spray yet, but that's okay. All right, maybe I will enlighten a few on the acid spray tech. Okay, is there any more down here? All right, there's one here from Shepherd Gobble, 5-3 record, so top 30. I won't go any more than this, but let's just see. So there's the eject pack. Okay, so there's the there it is, acid spray. Who are you, Shepherd? You know what's up. You know what the Clover set is. All right, so acid spray, and then look who benefits, right? So Salamence, Goldango, and Sylveon. This is perfect, right? Salazzle's faster than all these things. You click acid spray, Hyper Voice is dealing so much damage to whoever that other slot is. Same with like Make It Rain. You know, you chip things, you break Sash, and then Salamence, you know, not as good of a special attacker as it is a physical attacker, definitely benefits from something like acid spray. So really, really good set here. I like it a lot, and it has the eject pack with the overheat combination, so you're able to pivot out and recycle those fake outs. So good choice here from Shepherd. See, I told you I wasn't crazy. All right, then if you go to the Poke Village Backyard Brawl, I believe there were, wait, no, was there another Salazzle set? Let me just take a look here. Was there another one that I missed? No, I won't go any more than that. So let's take a look here at the Village one. Winter Night, right? All right, what do you got over here? So again, another eject pack. And again, the other one also had Terra Flying. This is probably just to like dodge a Garchomp Earthquake stuff. So I understand the reasoning behind that. But again, fake out, sludge bomb, overheat, encore. Again, similar formula. But again, you do see the eject pack, and again, also focus set. So very much ideal. The only thing that you would do with the eject pack build is like have a little bit more bulk. You know, you could either go like max HP and just like a little bit of attack. I mean, special attack, not a whole bunch. Or you can just like do a little bit more speed. Like I would just go like, how much speed? Like you obviously want to be like timid. All right. And what I would do, at the very least, just go to 180 just to outspeed like mouse hold stuff, and then just have like maybe 1 point in special attack, and then or just do like this, something like this, right? A little bit of special attack, because your main job is to just like, you know, spam overheats, you know, spam acid spray, support, and then maybe something like encore, endeavor, whatever it is you want, right? Ideally, and then just get yourself out of there. So something like this where you have like a bulkier spread, all right? And then over here, you just have a focus asset, just deal a bunch of damage, right? And then you could even maybe even swap out the acid spray for sludge bomb if you want a little bit more damage, of course. But I just like acid spray, right? If you don't have another special attacker on your team to benefit, then definitely go for the sludge bomb. But if you have like other special attackers, like that player did in the Durant's tour, then definitely go consider acid spray as a cool tech. All right, so yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. So hopefully you understand the value of Salazzle and why it's rising, and you understand both sets here with the eject pack overheat combination, as well as like the support sets that it gets, right, and the value that it has over some of the other fire types and being able to pressure the other fairy types. So it makes a lot of sense why both Salazzle and Mimikyu were rising. You know, they have their reasons. And of course, it's all because of what they offer to the team and what they can do against a lot of the meta. All right. So we'll be back with another video in the next one, guys. Peace out and have a good night.